Good evening. Welcome into Feldco Football Recap, live with the great Tom Waddle. Olin Kreutz will join us in a couple of minutes. I'm David Kaplan. Tommy, good to see you tonight. We've got a big game with the Lions coming up, but we got to talk a little bit about a battle of two titans in the Bears and the Panthers last Thursday.
It's a rock fight.
It's our 4 seasons game breakdown for all the right reasons. 4 seasons. You're right. It was a rock fight. Tyson Bagent got the start. The Bear offense was, I thought defensively they did a really good job, Tommy, harassing Bryce Young. He looked awful. I don't know if he's that bad. The team's that bad. Combination of everything.
I think it's a bad football team for sure. Look, you don't apologize for wins. I mean, we've learned that over the course of time, right? It was not a aesthetically pleasing victory. I'm not going to lie to you. I was hoping for a more dominant victory, especially against that opponent, but we'll take.
So was I.
You know, defensively, as you mentioned, they were very, very good. They gave up 43 yards rushing, 213 total yards, and defensively, they only gave up 2 field goals. Remember, you know, the lone touchdown came via the punt return. So they were very good on third down. 3 of 15 was all that the Carolina Panthers could convert. And I think what you were alluding to, also was how well they pressured the quarterback, Montez Sweat, with a ton of pressures. They got to Bryce Young, what was it, 2 or 3 times. So, look, I mean, when you are a team that is struggling for an identity and struggling to define yourself, a win is a win is a win. So I think we put that one in the W column and we move forward. And like, not to be overly, dramatic, but I'll make a case that this is the most important game in Matt Eberflus's young NFL head coaching career. And I could also make the case that this is the most important game that Justin Fields will play in a Bears uniform to this point.
Okay, you're talking about the Detroit game.
Yes, going forward.
Okay, so I heard you say that with Sylvie today, and I was driving in my car, and I'm still in my.
Did you swerve into the guardrail?
I almost did. I'm still have my Cubby Chubby going. You like my Take That, Milwaukee?
Yeah.
And by the way,
I just wish, Cap, that you would take more joy in our team's accomplishments and less about another team's demise. But you know what? That's for you. That's not for me. So
I got to be me, man.
Yeah,
I got to be me. You always told me, act like you've been there before. Other than 2016, we haven't. So I will.
Okay. You do.
I will enjoy it.
You do you.
But I was driving, and I'm in my post-Craig Counsell signing glow, and I heard you say that, and I went, most important game of his tenure? Okay, if he wins, he probably keeps his gig. I'll give you that.
Well, let's play this out, okay? Like, again, I'm not trying to be dramatic here and draw attention to myself. Matt Eberflus is 6-21, correct?
Matt Eberflus has won 6 football games.
6-21. He's 0 for the division, right? They have
never won a game in the division.
In his time as the head coach of the Chicago Bears in the National Football League. If you're trying to establish something and you're trying to create a little bit of job security, what better way to do that than to go to Detroit on Sunday against a Lions team that is very good, that is at the top of the NFC North. Go up there, and you as not only a defensive-minded head coach, but the acting defensive coordinator as well, and match wits with Ben Johnson, who could be arguably one of the hottest young offensive coordinators in the National Football League. Go up there, get a W, have your defense be better than our offense, and come back and finally have a signature win. In those 6 wins, do you know who they've beaten over the last 2 years?
Yes, they've beaten the Carolina Panthers. They've beaten, nobody in the division. I'm trying to even remember now.
Let's go with this year. They've beaten the Panthers, who are 1-8, the Raiders, who are 5-5. There was no chance the Raiders finished this season above 500. Look at their schedule.
I love their coach.
The Commanders are 4-6. They're not going to finish above 500. And in 2022, they beat the Texans, the Patriots, who finished 8-9 that year, and the 49ers, who went on to be 13-4, but they beat them in the first week of the season when Trey Lance was their quarterback, and it was in a monsoon. So you tell me, of those 6 wins, which one gets your nuts hot? And I'll tell you, none.
None of them.
If you want to make a case for yourself being the head coach beyond the 2023 season, it starts with going to Detroit and beating a Lions team that is very good. So for me, it is the most important game that Matt Eberflus will have coached since he took over as the head coach at the start of the 2022 season. And I'll make the case as well, Cap, that it's the most important game for Justin Fields as well. If Justin wants to make us all believe that he is the future for this franchise, and it doesn't matter if he makes us believe, it's a matter of whether or not he makes Ryan Poles believe, then go up there. Go to Detroit against a good Detroit team. Put 30 on the board. Hang 30 on that Lions defense. Come out of there leading your team to victory, which will be, I believe, Justin's most important win of his career if he can do that. And then you change the narrative. I always say, like in a very basic fashion, if you want to change the narrative, you know how you change the narrative? You change the narrative. You go up there and you make us believe differently. So you tell me that there has been a game to this point that has been more important individually to the head coach and to the quarterback of this franchise. And if you can find a game that is more important, I'll call you a liar. How about
Okay, Tommy, they're nearly a double-digit underdog, and by kick, they may be a 10-point underdog. So you're putting an awful lot of heat on Eberflus and Justin to go in and beat a team that I think can go to the Super Bowl in their building, coming off a hell of a win over the Chargers on the road.
If you want to lay claim to the head coaching position for this team going forward, and Ryan Poles gave Matt Eberflus a hell of an endorsement last week.
He did. It scared me.
You are currently a head coach that has resided over a team under your guidance that has won 6 games. You are 6-21. Prior to last week's game, as I told you and Olin, things that you already knew, that this Bears team had committed 60 penalties, which was tied for most penalties in the National Football League. They had committed 18 turnovers, the most in the National Football League. They had a -9 turnover ratio, worst turnover ratio in the National Football League. If Matt Eberflus wants to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears and remain a head coach in the National Football League going forward, Cap, don't you believe that it's got to start at some point? At some point, you have to win a game that is a quote-unquote signature win. You've got to prove that you can get your team out there and maybe overachieve. I get it.
Are they good enough to win that game?
I don't believe they are. But, do you believe that this coaching staff and this quarterback on their current arc are going to come back and retain their positions going forward?
But if they go out, and let's assume they win the game, and Olin Kreutz joins us now. So Olin, Tommy said this is the most important game of Justin Fields and Matt Eberflus's career in Chicago, the game coming up at Detroit. And my response to Tommy is, okay, if they go out and win a rock fight 13-7, what does that really prove? Now, if you tell me they win 31-20.
What do you mean? What does it prove? You went into Detroit and took down the team that's leading your division.
I'm not talking about the win or loss. That doesn't show me Justin Fields deserves to be back. Maybe the coach, but not the quarterback.
What I'm telling you, Cap, is this is obviously you have to build on that. I'm not telling you that if they win this game, both guys have secured long-term stability. But their attempts to retain their jobs, it has to start somewhere. So I'm telling you that there's been no more important, because if you go out there and coach up a great game and play a great game against a team that is 7-2 and is in the lead in your division, it will be the first time either guy has really truly made a statement, a large statement in a really important environment. I don't think overstatement.
First of all, Cap, let me apologize. Carmel Catholic, we had a dinner we were crying in our milk because Nazareth beat the hell out of us. So, a credit to that team, man. Great football
You had
team.
a hell of a year, man.
Nah, we did, but Nazareth is a really good football team. They got great football players. They're a fun team to watch. To Tommy's point, I will say this. When I went through Carolina's film, and I'm wondering what you guys think about this, I thought Coach Eberflus himself, his play calling, his scheming, I thought he out-coached Carolina. I thought he was the strength of the Chicago Bears that day, right? I thought he did a great job. When I rewatched the film, I thought he was the strength of the Chicago Bears, to be honest with you. I thought he outcoached Carolina's offensive coaches that bad. I thought that Kyler Gordon, all the things you saw him do, I thought Coach Flus put him in those spots. He was coming free on blitzes. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. I thought he was the strength of the Chicago Bears that day. And to Tom's point, can you do that against a good football team?
Yes.
Can you do that against a good football coach and against a team that's humming the top-rated offense, top 5 in the league and everything, right? When you watch them play, right? Kyler Gordon, styles make fights. We all saw that with Tevin Jenkins. We talked about him versus Derrick Brown. You guys saw the difference. And it wasn't just Tevin Jenkins. Derrick Brown was giving it to Darnell Wright, too, all night. And it was a great battle to watch. But I am interested to see this defensive unit, Coach Eberflus, versus the Detroit Lions, to be honest with you. I can't – I know what you're saying, Cap. I can't agree with Tom more because when I watched that film again, I'm like, gosh, I think Coach Eberflus and his play calling was the biggest advantage the Chicago Bears had that game.
Cap, are you talking as the DC or the head coach?
As the DC, I'm talking about. It's a good question. Yes, I'm talking about as a DC.
But right now, he's wearing both hats.
Yeah.
So, you got to prove to me. Sometimes I think the three of us would agree. You are going into an environment that is a hostile environment, and you're taking a butter knife to a gunfight because that Lions team is more talented than you are. But that doesn't mean that they're going to, they don't have to win. I'm going to pick them to win. Don't get me wrong, not to, cut to the chase, but go up there and show me that you can put your guys in position to make plays and take advantage of some of the things that you identify as weaknesses. Cap, I'm just telling you, if in fact they go up there and they get boat raced, the narrative stays the same, is that we're going to need a new coaching staff. We're more than likely they're going to take one of their high picks and they're going to select a different quarterback. I'm telling you that if the coaching staff and the quarterback want to lay claim to being the future, it starts with going up to Detroit and actually doing something very, very positive against the team that is leading your division, not necessarily against the Carolina Panthers team and you're building on a short week. That's all I'm saying.
Olin, do you believe that they have a chance, a path to a victory? I know take away the football 5 times like
right.
what happened to the Bears, but can they match up with this team in your opinion?
No, they don't match up with them at all. And that's why it's interesting to see now defensively they can, where Montez Sweat is now here. I heard some craziness on the radios this week, and I'm a part of the radio station that Kyler Gordon was the best player on defense. I mean, that's nonsense, right? Montez Sweat is getting double teamed. You know who they're planning for? Montez Sweat. The best player on your defense is the guy people plan for. That's the best player on your defense, right? So Montez Sweat has made a difference on that defense. I haven't seen yet any updates on Tremaine Edmonds' knee. But let me tell you guys this, and you guys notice, I'm sure you guys notice. When you line up those back guys and now in Montez Sweat, they've got dudes on defense, man. And Cap, we have not seen these guys line up against a top-tier offense all together. And I can't wait to see it because I want to see as much as you, like you just said. Do they match up against what is a very, very good offense? The play calling is superb. The offensive line is superb. They got good receivers. They got good running back. It's going to be a fun game to watch to see where they are. And as Tom is saying, like when you look through their schedule, Cap, who else? Maybe Cleveland, where you say, should we keep this coach or not? Because if I got to take another quarterback, which I think they do, then you don't keep this coach.
I agree with that 100%. 100%. And look, let's go through what this Detroit team has been able to do. And look, let's throw some, toss some roses in their direction. They average 408 yards and 27 points per game. Okay. They're equal opportunity, good run and pass. They're fourth in rushing. They are fourth in throwing it. They got dudes. David Montgomery's having a good year. Jahmyr Gibbs is a dual threat rookie running back. Amon-Ra St. Brown is averaging over 100 yards per game receiving. Laporta is an excellent rookie tight end. And let's not forget the offensive line that Olin was talking about. There are 6 quarterbacks in the National Football League that have attempted more passes than Jared Goff. There are 26 quarterbacks in the National Football League that have been sacked more. What is the moral of that story? They protect the shit out of their quarterback, okay? Not only do they create running lanes for Jahmyr Gibbs, who's averaging over 5 yards per carry, and David Montgomery, who's averaging 4.7 yards per carry, they protect their immobile quarterback. They know who he is. They know what he does well. The ball comes out quick for him, but they also know that he can't get away from you, Cap. So what they have to do is be able to protect him. And I would argue with 15 sacks allowed and the number of passing attempts that he has had, they do that about as well as anybody. So again, if you can go to Detroit and you can get him off his spot and you could pressure him and you could slow down that offense, then now we're talking about something that I can truly get behind and something I can get excited about.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers from last week, and I think he's got to start this week. It looked like he was, free and easy throwing the football. What we saw on video yesterday, we'll find out on Wednesday from Coach Eberflus. Bagent, 20 of 33, and then they were able to, be okay through the air. Dante Foreman, though, I thought was really good. 21 carries for 80 yards. Roshan Johnson looked like he can really block. He only ran, I think, 5 times. But I'm telling you what, I think you get the right center in there, like we fatten Olin up and get him back in there. You can get this offensive line turned around pretty quickly. Darnell Wright, Nate Davis, Tevin Jenkins, and maybe it's Braxton Jones. Maybe you're drafting a left tackle, but they got to get an anchor in the middle, and I think they can turn it pretty quickly.
The offensive line you're talking about, if these guys stay healthy, Cap, you're correct. Like, they are playing credit to Coach Morgan. They're playing pretty damn good football, right, the last 2 or 3 weeks. And it's Tevin and Darnell Wright on their right side, and they're running at him, even with Derek Brown there. That one touchdown they had in the game was over the right side. Now, Derek Brown does beat Darnell right there. But here's the thing you got to remember. Even if someone gets beat, if the guy has to swim around the guy, he's leaving a hole, right? If he doesn't go through somebody, if he doesn't physically dominate them, stack them at a point of attack, move them behind the line of scrimmage, if he has to swim around real fast, even though it looks like Darnell Wright lost on the touchdown, he really wins because you got to swim around a big man like that. But, Cap, you're right. I mean, we've wanted a pivot there. I got to be honest. I thought Lucas Patrick played one of his better games. I thought he played one of his better games against the Panthers. I thought he played pretty good, for the way he's been playing. They got an interesting setup with Nate Davis coming back. What do they do at their right guard spot? They should add more assets to their offensive line. Cap, we've talked about for years. Add more guys there, man. Create competition. Make that a strength of your team.
Can I take a second? I want to toss a bouquet in Olin's direction as well. I've always thought he was smarter than anyone in the city when it comes to just pure ball.
Smart as something.
No, I'm telling you, when I had no idea who Brown was. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm always looking on the flanks. I'm looking at wide receivers. I'm looking at quarterbacks. I'm looking at other.
I knew who he was. That was
my God. And I will tell you that I love Tevin Jenkins. He was bus tossing Tevin Jenkins on a couple of occasions. And that's, you know what? There's no shame in that.
Nope.
I had no idea who that kid was. I know he was a former first-round pick, a high first-round pick, a top 10 pick. But Olin mentioned him before the game kicked off on Thursday. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch him. And I got to tell you, of all of the guys that I watched play on both sides of football, I think he was the most impressive guy. He's a grown-ass man. And,
that's a good way to say it.
Like, I don't know how you spent 15 years in the league trying to keep guys like that off of your quarterback.
You know, it's funny because after I retired, Harry Heastand took the job with the Chicago Bears. And I show up to practice, and Akeem Hicks was there going against guys. And I thought to myself, thank God I'm not doing this anymore, man. When you watch Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack, when they used to practice there, it was like that. But yes, Derek Brown, man, I mean, and I tell you the truth, I think they're trying to be too smart there. The guy's a nose guard. You line him up right over the center and let him create havoc.
Yeah.
They're leaving him at end, and really that takes him out of one side of the defense, and that's Carolina's problem. Thank God they did that.
Yeah.
I think, imagine if they put that guy, guys, every down on Lucas Patrick.
Oof.
Right? Like, he would have ruined our whole game plan.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people can outthink themselves. This guy's been playing it like, I think he was the number 6 pick coming out of the draft. So people have known about him for a long time. Yeah. I'll give Tevin and Darnell Wright this credit. When you play against a guy like that, honestly, you just want to go about 60-40. By that I mean win 60% of the time, lose 40%. That's all you're trying to do, Tom. You know, you go against a good cornerback. If you win once or twice, you're good, right?
Yeah.
That guy, I think they went more like 50-50, I'll be honest with you. But just 50-50 is pretty damn good.
All right, let's do our play and player of the game, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. I went straight cherry this week, OG. Straight cherry right there. Zero sugar, straight cherry, because I got plenty of sugar here on my birthday coming up. Our Dr. Pepper play of the game is the D'Onta Foreman touchdown. There was not a lot of scoring in this game. A lot of same-game parlays got blown up if they had touchdowns in there because there were not a lot of them. But boy, oh boy, how was this guy inactive at the start of the season for like multiple weeks? He runs hard. He really looked like he came into this game going, that team gave me up, and I'm going to come ready to play. It was good to see, man.
Really. I think he does that anyway, right, Cap? I think they did that at Carolina last year, you know, when they moved on from their running back. I think he does that every game he's out there. Now, whenever someone moves on like that, there's something missing somewhere, right? And we don't see him on third downs, and maybe pass blocking is a problem for this guy. But when he is running the ball, when he's coming downhill, like you talked about on that touchdown run, he ran through 2 or 3 guys, I think, to score. He did that all game. If he bounces outside and he's one-on-one with a cornerback, count that as a 3 or 4 yard game. That's automatic. So now why he wasn't playing, I mean, Khalil Herbert, good running back, right? Rashawn Johnson, pretty good. But D'Onta, he is a luxury to have as your third running back, Tom, in your backfield.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a huge proponent of running back by committee. I think the position has been devalued. I don't think it's been completely devalued over the course of time. I think there are guys that are elite and then can change games. But for the most part, I think if you can have a rotation of guys and keep them fresh, it's probably the best way to go. And it's the best way to use your resources as well. My hope is coming into this game that they just maintain their focus on running the football. Don't try to get too cute. Like, what they do best is they run the football. So even with Justin back in there, make sure that your focus is trying to get through your running game going. And look, it's a Lions defense that does better against the run than they do against the pass. But that doesn't mean you need to get all giggly and start throwing it for 45 times. Run the football. It's who you are. Be true to who you are. Try to shorten the game. Take care of the football and try to go up there and steal one. And listen, if they can go up to Detroit and beat this Lions team, like, I'm not telling you they're going to the Super Bowl, but it would make me feel a whole lot better, because it means for a team like that's undermanned, if you can go on the road and beat a team that's significantly more talented than you are, it means your guys are developing. It means some of your young guys are out there doing some positive things. So, yeah, I'm interested to see it. This is going to be one of the most interesting games of the year so far for me, for sure.
All right, let's get our player of the game, and all this brought to you by Dr. Pepper. And I gave it to D'Onta Foreman and Kyler Gordon. I thought D'Onta Foreman, as I said earlier, was just such an impactful player on the offensive side. I could have also put Montez Sweat in here. 8 quarterback pressures, the most by a Bears player since 2020 when it was Robert Quinn. And I thought Kyler Gordon played a really good football game too. No surprise, he comes from the University of UW, the University of Washington. Dr. Pepper's an American original, just like our Chicago Bears, pleasing your taste buds since 1885. Dr. Pepper is a unique combination of 23 flavors, a winning formula that football fans love. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Kyler Gordon's a really good player, but I want to get into Montez Sweat because I got into it talking about Mike Lombardi, this idiot from Wiesn, who was a one-year wonder as a general manager in Cleveland and went 4-12 and got fired. He ripped the Bears for making this trade, and I talked to someone in Atlanta.
Cap, you guys should have a celebrity boxing match. What do you think?
Yes, I would definitely buy a ticket for that, and if I can't be there in person, I would definitely. I spend $100 on pay-per-view. I worked with Mike out in LA. I've always gotten along with Mike. I think Mike's a wonderful guy. I didn't agree with his points. Cap, you chose to call him, dirty
an idiot.
Whatever it is, you did. That's not my it's not my bag, baby, as they say. But look, you do you.
Yeah.
Look,
first of all, with Kyler Gordon, Cap, we talked about for weeks on the show how he kind of reminds you of Rondé Barber, right? The way he comes off that edge, the way he blitzes. And Coach Flus, I talked about earlier. I was really impressed with how much he outcoached the Panthers coaching staff and how he was calling those blitzes and Kyler Gordon was coming free. But in the NFL, you still got to make those plays. I think he's a high-level blitzer off the edge, man. I think with his flexibility, the way he pops down and pops up, it reminds me. I mention the name Rondé Barber every time I talk about him. He reminds me so much of Rondé Barber when he plays football. Now, he's got a big matchup this week. Yeah. I think Tom can talk about the receivers going away better than I can. But the guy's a very good football player, and it's going to be fun to watch them go against each other.
I think they finally – real quick, Olin. I think they finally got right. He's healthy. It's hard to play inside as a nickel corner with a bad hand because your hands are so important. Like, you can hide one of those hands if you're on the left side or the right side. When you're in the middle, both your hands are really important regardless. But I think even when you play nickel corner, but I think finally when they draft Stevenson and they leave him on one side and Johnson is on the other side, and you can put Kyler Gordon in the middle, like that is an elite position, and to play it at a high level is very important.
Okay, so
Kenny Moore, right? Kenny Moore, Coach Flus had Kenny Moore in Indianapolis, like super important position, Cap, for this defense, just like Brisker is. As long as he can tighten his helmet up, we'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. So I put the tape on and I sat down, got a cup of coffee, and I'm watching Montez Sweat, and I'm just like, we haven't had a dude like this. Like, holy cow. I know Robert Quinn 2 years ago had a hell of a year. We traded him away last year. Khalil's been gone a couple years already. But this dude is a monster, man. He's taken on two blockers, and that allows I think it was Justin Jones, boom, right to the quarterback, Sack City. He is going to be a beast for the Bears.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And let's be honest now, Robert Quinn 2 years ago, that was something I watched on film. So
it was.
We have seen this here before, Khalil Mack, before Quinn. Now, Montez Sweat is just something we haven't had the last 2 years, okay? And Justin Jones, like you're saying, Cap, he's won on early downs against two guards, 2 weeks in a row now. Javon Dexter starts on nickel. Doesn't do a lot, but on one down, he does win. He does win and get to the quarterback in under 3 seconds. But as far as Montez Sweat goes, when you watch the film, they're chipping him. They're accounting for him. And remember now, this is going to be the third week in a row he's going against a top 8 right tackle in the NFL. Okay, so for the New Orleans Saints, the guys, I think he's top 3 set right tackles paid in the NFL. Moulton, another one, top 10. And Penei Sewell, whenever he gets paid, it's going to be $25+ million. So this guy has been going against high-level talent. And Cap still getting home, still making a difference in the game, and they still have to chip for these guys. I think Moulton's making like 18, 19 million a year, and they're still chipping for him.
Yeah, and this is where you also find out about, I think we all like this secondary. Like they've been playing from behind, or for a lack of a better term, because there's been no pass rush. You can introduce a consistent pass rush. It's only going to make these guys even more, more efficient and more effective. I really like the secondary. I'm not suggesting to you it's the best in the National Football League. I'm not telling you that they're perfect, but I think all they really need to take that next step is a little bit of help up front. And Montez Sweat is somebody that can do a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job against the run this year as compared to a year ago when they were awful. But we'll see. But I love
Billings,
the trade.
man. Billings has been something in the middle there.
He has, and he got rewarded with a nice little payday.
His leadership, like he's making everybody play their gap cap. You can tell. Like this guy's provide. Like they didn't pay him for no reason out of nowhere, right? He's providing a lot more than just playing nose guard. I think he's leading guys, insisting they're in their gap, insisting they're playing with gap integrity on rundowns. He's fun to watch.
I'm telling you, just remember I told you on the 14th of November at 8:32, the Chicago Bears will be one of the surprise teams in the NFC next year. Mark it down.
What does that mean?
They will contend to go to the playoffs next year.
No, they Cap. Come on, with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, CJ Stroud is doing it. You're right. He's doing it over there in Houston. Yeah.
They're going to go get, hopefully, the best available center. Olin's going to scout for us one day, the kid at Miami. He's going to be unrestricted. You got nothing but money. Make it uncomfortable on any team to try and beat you for him if he's the guy. Then you got to absolutely go get yourself the best quarterback. You got to hit on your evaluation.
Let me ask you a question. Isn't that what you're expecting when you turn over pretty much everything in year 3? Shouldn't you be competing for a playoff spot? If not, then what was the rebuild for? Like, I'm not saying that they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but if you're not one of these teams that's listed in the hunt late in the season, year 3,
then you failed.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the very, failed, I don't know, but at the very least, you're moving in place. So, yeah, I mean, you should. Like, I think they've got some good young players. It hasn't materialized in terms of the number of wins, but, you got to put it all together. It means, your quarterback's got to be someone that provides solutions and takes care of the football. Your coaching staff's got to put guys in position to take advantage of what they do well. There's still a lot that goes into being a winning football team, and we've yet to see that happen. But I'm with you, Cap. Like, if I don't know that I'd give you the guarantee, but I'll tell you this: if we get to next season and they're not in the hunt late in the season, I'm going to be pissed.
Agreed. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll get into more of this. I'm going to ask you guys, is Justin Fields a Bear when we start the season next year? We'll get into all that right after this.
Hey, Dad, we're running low.
We'll be all right.
What is going on here?
Insulation? I'm chilly.
I can't help you with the decoration, but I can help you replace these windows fast.
Right now, buy one window and you'll get one free. Plus, no interest until 2025. And we'll get it done Feldco fast.
Buy one window, get one free, and soon. Hurry. Call now.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Feldco Bears Recap Live is brought to you by Feldco, Chicago's home renewal experts. Call 866-4FELDCO. 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. For all the right reasons, 4 Seasons. Vienna Beef. Go to viennabeef.com and use code CAP23. That's KAP23 at checkout for 15% off your order today. And Dr. Pepper. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Westtown Bakery in Wheeling at the corner of Lake Cook Road and Milwaukee. Enjoy the best brunch Saturday and Sunday mornings. All right, here's our Westtown Bakery in Wheeling winging it segment. Tyson Bagent's numbers, 20 of 33 for 162. Did not throw a touchdown, but more importantly, did not turn it over and found a way to pilot the craft and get it home with another victory. So he goes 2-2 in his 4 starts in relief of Justin Fields, who I believe, and I think you guys agree, will start against Detroit. And by the way, Westtown Bakery, they do the greatest pies in the Chicago area. So you want to order for Thanksgiving, Just look them up, Westtown Bakery, and they pick them up right there in Wheeling at Lake Cook in Milwaukee. My birthday is Sunday. They sent me a little cake. How about this? Look at that.
For a 48 cap, 48
Wow, look at
this
that.
year.
What's that?
Times
48 this year. 48 years old.
No, 40. 40. So, yeah.
We can
Hey,
all hope to look as good as that when we turn 70.
Wow. A little offsides. Anyway, so Westtown Bakery, Lake Cook, and Milwaukee, order your Thanksgiving pies. I did that today. All right, so let's talk about Justin. Olin, do you think Justin Fields is the quarterback when the Bears begin the 24 season?
No,
In
I
Chicago.
don't think he is the quarterback when the Bears begin the 2024 season. That's just from what I've seen so far from the results we've watched. I don't think so. I think they get with the picks they got this year. I think they move on. That's why it's very interesting when you guys are talking about this regime's going to their third year, but not their third year with their quarterback. Right? That's very interesting to me when you look at them. Can the Bears finally do it the right way, right? Can they finally get coach, quarterback, GM lined up, and let's see how that thing works out. So from what we've seen so far with Fields, no, I don't think so.
Tommy?
Look, if it was today, I agree with Olin. I would say no. But look, this is a week-to-week league, and things can change quickly. That's why I said at the start of the season, I wanted to see Justin perform in all 17, games, and then come to my conclusion, which is less important than their conclusion. But I think they wanted to see all 17 games as well. I think if the decision had to be made today, I think that they would move on. And I think they would move on because they currently hold the number 1 overall selection, courtesy of the Carolina Panthers. If they were sitting at pick number 14 or 15, I think it's a different conversation. I think this conversation is heavily influenced by the fact that they are going to have one of the top 2 or 3 picks, if not the top pick, and it's supposed to be one of those elite quarterback years. However people want to define that, or those that are special with it, or it's their specialty. But I would agree with Olin if the decision has to be made right now. But look, change my mind. Change my mind about the coach. Change my mind about the quarterback. Go out there and go 7-0 and let Justin be the reason why. And Matt Eberflus put together good defensive plans to slow down, better, more talented teams. Change, things change quickly. The Detroit Lions last year at this point in the season were what? 2-7? They won 8 of their last 9.
They were 1-6 and then turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was more talent on that team, and I thought, there were some things that they had going their direction that we don't. But change the narrative. That's how you change the narrative. You go out there and you make plays and you coach well. And so, but look, I think at the end of the day, people have asked me, what does Justin have to do to prove to them that he's the answer? I've seen Justin do some just ridiculously impressive stuff. But I've also seen him turn the ball over 36 times and be sacked 115 times. Are all of those turnovers and all those sacks completely on him? No. But Olin uses the phrase or the word all the time, multiplier. You have to be a solution provider as well. And even when things aren't going your way, you have to be the reason why you're elevating others and their level of play. And you have to provide solutions, even in the face of adversity. And while I've seen some brilliant stuff from him, I haven't seen him do the simple things well enough to this point. So what I would say is, in 7 games, could you change my mind? Yes. But if I have to make the decision today, I would suggest to you guys, because they have currently the number 1 overall selection, that they would pivot and go in a different direction.
Cap, can I just say, if I'm still wondering after 3 years, I'm going to take another quarterback, okay? Yeah. Now, here's what I'll say about Justin Fields. There's stuff we all can't see. Only Ryan Poles, Getsy, Janoko, and Eberflus can see the day in and day out, right? When someone's not consistent, I wonder about the work every week. I wonder about the preparation every week when you show up Monday morning. If that stuff is all there, I'm willing to keep going, right? I'm willing to keep going with you. If the intangibles are all there, I think Ryan Poles them know already, man. I'll be honest with you. I think they know what they're going to do already, because the only question left for me is it every day? Is he getting better every day? And can I believe that he's going to do everything in his power to be a better quarterback every single day, studying film, correcting his mistakes, taking the blame for the things he can get better, and saying, look, I know that center is not the greatest in the world, but I'm going to make him better. Don't worry about it. I'll make the play. Don't worry about it. And when someone says that to you, Cap, you can look them in their eyes and you can see if he's telling you the truth. So that, to me, it's a very easy equation. If after 3 years I'm still wondering and I have the number 1 pick, I have to move on. It doesn't mean he won't make it somewhere else. It just means I'm still questioning whether he's my quarterback or not.
I always felt, Olin, that, and it turns out this is an odd statement because of how well C.J. Stroud has played. I always felt that had the quarterback class this year been more impressive leading into the draft, it would have been a harder decision for this group. I thought they felt the guy that was at the top of the list was Bryce Young, and he was just too damn small to pick with the first overall selection. I think if they would have had this quarterback class available to them last year, it would have been a significantly
they're taking a quarterback then.
Yeah, and Cap, look, this is pure speculation, and I'm not trying to suggest I know what Ryan Poles was thinking, but I just feel like because of the things that Olin said, they came into this year and Justin was going to have to excel from day one to kind of win them over. And look, I'll take it a step further. If in fact they have decided that they are going to, at the end of the year, use the first overall selection on a quarterback, or they're going to pivot and go because they have the number 2 selection, whatever it is, I don't know that you can come back with the same coaching staff. I think you have.
Oh, I don't think you can.
Well, and for the following reason, like Olin has said in the past, if you make that change at quarterback and you keep the coaching staff, and then next year you don't see any improvement, then you have to change the coaching staff again. Then you're bringing in a new coaching staff that wasn't part of the decision-making process for the quarterback that is currently in your system. It's just too murky at that point. So, look, again, I agree with totally 100% with what Olin is saying. If you don't know by this point, then you know, right? I mean, that's the old saying. If you don't know by now, you really know.
If we're still having a conversation, right? Like you're answering your own question. If we're still talking about it, and look, I can look around and tell you, has the O-line been good enough? No. Has he had the weapons? No. But I'm still saying the same things.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, if they're having those same conversations right now in that building, they've answered their own question.
And part of it is, for me, is just my own experience. Like, look, I was still trying to change people's minds in year 3. I was still trying to change people's minds in year 4. So I'm always an advocate of giving someone.
But you also were not a first-round pick, Tom.
That is true, Cap. That is 100% true. But I'm always an advocate of giving someone more time than less time to prove themselves. So I'm always going to keep it. It doesn't do me any good to say, to come to this firm conclusion right now, no chance. So while I may think it's a less than 50-50 chance that they move forward with the current situation, you can always change my mind. Like, you can always change my mind. It may be a difficult ask, but you can always do it.
But let's put it this way, okay? Yes. Do you keep Justin Fields? Can he improve? Do you change the OC? Do you change the offense for him? Yes, eventually I'd like to see him in that.
Yeah.
But if I have the number 1 pick, I'm taking the best quarterback available. I'm moving on. I'm probably moving on from my coaching staff too. And I'm going to start all over again, even though Coach Eberflus has done a nice job for me. He done a nice job. The defense has got them better. All of that could be true. I have to change the direction of my franchise. I've done things this way for too long. I have to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
I really do. And Justin Fields could prove me wrong out there somewhere. But I got to take this chance one time and say, look at my history. Okay, I've done it this way for too long. Let me try it this way.
How about this? I do not want flavor of the day offensive coordinator. I don't. I don't care.
Bobby Slowick?
I want someone who's been a freaking head coach, for somebody that has stood up there in a market like this. Like Bobby Slowick, this is his first year calling plays. Done a great job. No question about it. I want a head freaking coach. And I talked to Albert Breer, and he said, don't be shocked if Mike Tomlin's willing to look around. If Mike Tomlin's out there, George is going to be shaking in his boots as he goes to get his steps in around Lake Forest, because that guy's going to change the culture now.
Well, did Nick Sirianni was a first-year head coach that took his team to the Super Bowl?
Hey, Tom.
He's also got the best offensive freaking line in the goddamn league.
I get it.
Tom, I was thinking that name. Do you remember his first press conference?
Oh, it was.
Horrible.
I thought they were going to fire him after the press conference. After the press conference. And look, I think that Sean McVay took the Rams to the Super Bowl pretty quickly after he got the job. Cap, listen, I'm not hating on your thought. If you could bring Mike Tomlin in here without Matt Canada, but Mike Tomlin in here with an offensive coordinator that has called plays before, I'm cool with that. Like Olin said last week, the problem is if your offensive coordinator is really good, you're going to lose him. And then you're going to start over again with another offensive system, which is, I get it. I mean, I just don't think that there's a perfect solution here. And I'm open to all of it. Like if you told me that you could hire a guy that's got head coaching experience and has done it at a high level and can bring me an offensive coordinator that has called plays before, I'm all for it. I'm totally all for it. I'm not going to close the door on any of it. But I'm going to keep my mind open to all of it as well. Maybe Ben Johnson is that guy. I watched the Detroit Lions, and there's talent there. But like you look at the design of that fourth down play where they decided to go for it against the Chargers this week, and they throw it to a tight end who had like 5 catches on the year. It's a perfectly designed play, and it's perfectly executed. Maybe Ben, in the right situation is the guy. Maybe it is someone that has had previous head coaching experience. For me personally, my mind is open to all avenues for sure.
All right, let's talk about the Detroit Lions. It is our Vienna eye on the opponent as we battle a really good Detroit Lions club. And check out all these beautiful treats from Vienna. If you're going to have a football pregame party, you're going to have people over. Maybe you don't live in Chicago. You go, I got to get some Chicago food. CAP23 is your code, 15% off. And go to viennabeef.com. Delicious stuff. Great for your party. All right, Detroit is rolling along. Now, the guy they hired as their head coach did have brief head coaching experience as the interim coach in Miami. And then they hired him and gave him a 6-year deal in Detroit. My kind of guy. I like someone with a fucking edge, to be honest with you. I don't want some guy who's a boob at a microphone, whoever that may be. This team's really, really good. I think they can go to the Super Bowl, Olin.
A boob at a microphone. Cap, with their offensive line, and the way they went in the trenches, and as Tom talked about, when you watch their play calling, yes, they can beat anybody on every given day. Now, to beat the best teams in the AFC, they would need a big game with takeaways. They would need to do a lot of things to win the Super Bowl. But as far as the NFC goes, the Eagles, and to me, when I look at the NFC, it's the Eagles and the Detroit Lions. The thing that really interests me, right, is the fact that they went and got Chris Spielman to hire Dan Campbell. And just looking at those two guys, and you guys know how much I'm into the strength part of football and the training and the getting ready week in and week out in the off season. When I watch this team play, guys, they look like they're getting stronger, man. They're getting stronger as the year goes on. You guys just talked about how they got 1-6 last year. Former Bears strength coach Mike Clark is their strength coach there. But bigger than that, when the whole building believes in something, right? We got to train every day. We got to get ready for the week. We're going to out-tough you. How do you out-tough somebody? You don't out-tough somebody that week of, guys. You out-tough them in March, man. You out-tough them with the work you've put in getting to June, July, and August. And when I watch this team on film, they look like they're actually, look at them outlast the Chargers. Like they look like they're actually getting stronger. It looks like their whole building believes in the weight room and the conditioning side of football. And I'll be honest with you, when I watch them play, in my opinion, that's one of their biggest advantages.
Yeah, like they are. I don't think they win the Super Bowl this year, guys. But I think
Why? What can't they do?
I just don't think they're good enough defensively to get past. If you've got to play San Francisco one week and then the next week you've got to play Philadelphia, I think you could beat one of them. I just don't think they're ready to beat both of them. Maybe they do, but I would take Philly or San Francisco over them at this particular time to be able to win twice to get to the big game.
Oh, they're a better team than San Francisco.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
What a D line. You guys just said that. I already set my spot up on the couch for the D line versus the O line. San Fran's D line versus the Lions O line. I hope you guys are right. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah.
They're better than San Francisco.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
And they're not
in
as
Detroit.
well coached.
In Detroit, I think they are, Cap, but not in San Francisco.
Not in San Francisco. So, but currently right now, they're the second seed. If you got to go through Detroit, I give the Lions all the credit in the world. You also have to consider, and Olin could speak to this better than I, having been there helps. Is it the overwhelming decision, or the thing that will make the decision as to who wins? Maybe not. But the San Francisco 49ers have been there. The Detroit Lions are still trying to get to where the San Francisco 49ers have been. Look, I'm not talking down the Lions. I just think that the 49ers, top to bottom, are a better, more talented team. And at this point, they're more, they're a better coach team. Like I know you hate Shanny, but Shanny.
No, I do not.
You used to hate Shanny.
I
Shanny
said he hadn't proven anything yet, but I've come around. He's a hell of a good football coach.
Yeah. So, look, I like both teams. I like teams that play the way that the Lions play. I like teams that play the way that the 49ers play. I think that the Chicago Bears should look at the Detroit Lions and say, hey, look, that's a good template for what we should be doing. Right?
Well, then you got to start drafting a lot more offensive linemen because the Lions have like 4 of them.
Absolutely. That's my
point.
In
the first round.
Absolutely. And look, Aiden Hutchinson's a guy that comes off the edge. He's in his second year, can ultimately be a difference maker. I think they're well coached. I think they're a talented team. I think they're a team on the rise. There's nothing about the Detroit Lions that I don't like, Cap, at all. I just think that if you ask me in Vegas to put a large sum of money down, and it's my money, not your money, and I got to make a decision, I'm still going to put my money on the 49ers before I am the Detroit Lions. That's just where I'm at now. Could change.
If I gave you a pick, Olin, you can have either Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Moore. Who you picking?
I think DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think DJ Moore is a really, really good football player, man. I love the way he plays. I don't know when I watched his film this week if I liked everything I saw when I watched DJ Moore play this week, but catches the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown, very good football player, but I'll take DJ Moore on my football team.
Yeah, DJ Moore's got more natural skill. That's nothing. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been fabulous. And, he's got a great knack for where to sit. But if you find yourself in man-to-man coverage and you've got a go-get-it ball, I just think that DJ's got an advantage over St. Brown at this particular time. Different receivers, though. Like, if you look at them, they play the game a little bit differently.
Hey, Cap, isn't it funny? We talked about last week about Tevin Jenkins coming out talking about his pancakes. And I said, in the NFL, whenever you have a great week, some monster is coming your way, right? Derrick Brown is coming your way, and he's going to get it. Now, listen, who did everybody say was great this week? Kyler Gordon.
Yeah.
Right.
In the NFL, guess who's coming his way?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And that's in that slot. I'll let Tom talk to this. He's the slot expert. But in that slot, the Lions are dangerous in the middle of the field, man. And Goff loves to attack the midfield. I'll be honest with you. When you turn the Bears film on, they play good. But when you watch the film closely and you watch the sideline angle, guys were open there for Bryce Young. I know Herb Street was protecting his little guy there, Bryce Young, on the TV show. But when you watch it from the sideline, there were throws there sometimes to be made. So it's going to be an interesting game this week. And that always happens in the NFL. Happened to me too. Every time I thought I was the guy, here came this nose guard to humble me a little bit.
All right, let me ask you guys this question. Again, that was our Vienna Eye on the opponent. Go to viennabeef.com. They're celebrating their 130th anniversary. If you are having a football watching party, you're having any kind of a Chicago-style party, Chicago-style hot dog kit. Promo code CAP23 at viennabeef.com and get 15% off your order. Okay, I'm going to ask you both this question. I already know, I think, where Tom's going to go. I have not asked Olin this one. If Josh Allen, if the phone rang and you're Ryan Poles' office, you're running things. Phone rang and it's Brandon Beane, the GM of the Bills. He said, hey, I'm firing my coach. We're going to go through a bit of a retool here. That's what the owner wants to do. Give me the number 1 overall pick, the Carolina pick. I'll give you Josh Allen. Are you doing it? Because I'm running to the fucking airport picking him up. Let's go.
Is Brian DeBall coming with him? Because what I've seen lately, man, these turnovers, they bug me, right? They really do bug me. I got to watch the film, Cap. To be honest with you, I can't give you an answer right off the bat on this Allen guy. I watched last night, and what I saw last night worries me. Now, Ken Dorsey, I haven't been a big fan of him since he's taken over. I don't think he knows how to marry his run game to what he wants to do in the pass game. I think it's very obvious when they're running the ball, and it's very obvious when they're passing the ball. And I think what he wants to do pass-wise, concept-wise, guys have picked up on that, and it's made hard on Allen. But DeBall is a really, really good OC. He's not doing well as a head coach right now for the Giants, but he is an excellent offensive coordinator. When he is calling plays, when he's doing things with a good quarterback, he does well. But you tell me, you give Allen a Getsy. Is it much different? I don't know.
I would ask you, Olin, too, like, the thing that bothers me a ton, and maybe I'm not understanding it well enough, that teams that run predominantly out of shotgun do themselves a disservice if, in fact, that team is also pretty efficient running the football. Because you really don't disguise anything. Like, I would prefer to have my quarterback under center more than, I don't think Josh Allen's under there more than 10% of the time, or it doesn't appear to be that way. I think you become a more predictable offense if you're not willing to mix it up and put your quarterback under center. Is that a fair statement?
I think it is. I think it is a fair statement. Here's something else. When you throw out a gun, when you throw out these open formations, you always have an RPO on it, which means the quarterback can always throw the pass. You're accounting for a defender with the pass. So, most quarterbacks, they're going to want to throw the ball, right? They want to pile stats. They always see a good opportunity to get the ball out of their hands. But like you're saying, I think when the ball was there, I think there was more just called runs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we are going to run the ball on this play. You can do that out of gun. But you're right. You can hide it a little more under center. Obviously, I'm an offensive lineman. I'm more of an under center kind of guy. But to your point, yes, like, you could tell that they are right now struggling to marry the two sides. And that's why Dorsey lost his job today.
Yeah.
I think Sean McDermott knew that too.
But as I let you go, Tommy, your prediction, Olin, your 2 keys.
My prediction would be, I think the Bears lose this game. Let's go 27-20. I think it's a touchdown game. I think the Lions are just too much for them in their building.
Olin.
Yeah, I mean, they with this offensive line, Cap, the one thing the Bears have done well all year is stop the run. With David Montgomery, right, with that young running back, they got Gibbs. They got to stop this run game with this offensive line. Penei Sewell and the boys. Frank Ragnow, one of the best centers in the league. Jackson, the left guard, very good. Decker, they're very, very good up front. It's going to be a tough battle for that defensive line. They got to bring their lunch pail. They got to get a little bit dirty, and they got to play physical and violent to slow this run game down. And then the offensive side of the ball, again, they got to run the ball. We'll see what they do with Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins. Take Tevin Jenkins away from the right side. Is the right side a strength anymore? The Lions defense almost as good as the Bears defense stopping the run. So the run game on both sides of the ball, Cap, extremely important.
Yeah, I think the Lions win the game. I don't think it's they get boat race like last year. They got destroyed up there. I think it's something like 30-17, something like that. I do think Justin plays. So it'll be fun to watch him back out there. Gentlemen, have a great rest of your week. Love chopping it up with you.
Happy birthday, Cap.
40 years old, baby.
How many guys your age can do that many reverse chins, Cap?
I was at Olin's house, Tommy, and I did chins. He's got the greatest setup I've ever seen for a gym at someone's house.
I drank 12 beers yesterday. How about that?
I was just at Sukasa in Vernon Hills. I can't do any pull-ups.
That's a pretty good place. Hey, guys,
Really good
thanks
place.
again. We'll talk to you next week. This is Feldco Football Recap Live. For Olin, for Tommy, I'm Cap. Go Bears.
Hey, Dad, we're running low.
We'll be all right.
What is going on here?
Insulation? I'm chilly.
I can't help you with the decoration, but I can help you replace these windows fast.
Right now, buy one window and you'll get one free. Plus, no interest until 2025. And we'll get it done Feldco fast.
Buy one window, get one free, and soon. Hurry. Call now.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Feldco Bears Recap Live is brought to you by Feldco, Chicago's home renewal experts. Call 866-4FELDCO. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. For all the right reasons, Four Seasons. Vienna Beef. Go to viennabeef.com and use code CAP23. That's KAP23 at checkout for 15% off your order today. And Dr. Pepper. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Westtown Bakery in Wheeling at the corner of Lake Cook Road and Milwaukee. Enjoy the best brunch Saturday and Sunday mornings.